Yeah, as always, I'll start with a shout out to the community. And today I kind of rearranged the slides because we're getting more and more kind of substantial contributions. So I wanted to put those first and make sure they are really highlighted. Um, so yeah, there've been quite a few community PRs coming in this month. Here are a bunch of PRs that came in from Mason, mostly centered around adding ref, which is like a style formatting checker in the code, adding rules for that into the code that we were previously ignoring and making sure the code adheres to those. And then, yeah, quite some nice work from AgentRev coming in. So there was, hang on, let me just maybe open up. Yeah, so we had shared the final presentations from the Brighton retreat, and one of those was the attempted Python upgrade and kind of separation of the simulator. And so AgentRev took an interest in that and inquired a bit more of the repositories that Tristan and Will had put together for that and what would need to be done to take that work further. And kind of the next step would be to integrate this simplified simulator protocol into Monty. And so he opened up an issue on GitHub to get some more information, and Tristan kind of outlined a long series of steps that would need to be completed to do that, and even kind of ended that with this is a lot of work, so please don't feel like you have to sign up for all of it. But yeah, AgentRev said, I got this. I've done crazier back in the day, and yeah, has started working on this list of things and already merged 2 PRs for 2 refactors, and there are currently 2 further open PRs. So yeah, slowly ch chucking away on that topic. So thanks a lot. And since this is a bigger chunk of work, I also added an item on our future work table and put AgentRev on there. So thanks a lot. And then Anna, who's been on our future work table, I've brought up in the past months already, is almost at checking off this item, actually. I think on Friday, or I just approved this PR, so it's all ready to be merged. And this was kind of the second big step in refactoring the data loader and data set into an environment interface. So she like nicely wrote out notes of what all had been done, running benchmarks, making sure everything still gets the same performance. Also made sure to go through the tutorials, updating all the figures in our documentation, making sure the tutorials still run. And yeah, really put a lot of effort into this. And yeah, I'm super excited about it because maybe I can show the diff on some of this. It really does something I've been wanting to happen in Monty for years now, which is we initially started using kind of machine learning conventions talking about data loaders and data sets. But Monty doesn't work on data sets, it works in environments and by interacting in environments. So we kind of wrapped some code around that, but still used that naming convention. And now it's much clearer from looking at the code how it's supposed to be. So before we had the data loader and data set, and now that turned into the environment interface. So which Monty basically uses to interface with any kind of environment. So yeah, thanks a lot, Anna, for making all these changes and doing this nice refactor. And then just a couple of kind of cool projects that I've come across in the past month. This is only what people are sharing with us on the forum. So if anyone else has cool projects, feel free to share too. But yeah, here Spencer mentioned that he's working on integrating SDRs from HTM into Monty. And yeah, a couple days later shared a GitHub repository. Yeah, basically, yeah, using SDRs in cortical column-based AI, it's described as. So yeah, really interested where that work goes. And then also Joseph posted some kind of sample code and questions around making some changes to voting and testing some multimodal voting. And yeah, there's been a lot of kind of back and forth also with Niels and Rami giving some feedback on those ideas. And then helping others. Again, a big thank you to AgentRev for these are just some examples, but answering people's questions on the forum. Here, someone had issues with running a tutorial, and so quickly chimed in with what the issue was and kind of linked to a recent video for another question about reproducing the Lego robot setup. So yeah, thanks a lot. Then yeah, good input, feedback, and suggestions. Rich Moran suggested mermaid support, which is kind of a coding way to integrate diagrams into the posts. And so now that's supported on this course, thanks to Will enabling that. Someone else proposed, yeah, some people that we could engage with and why this might be useful. And then Yitok also recommended another podcast that actually Nomenta has been on before. So yeah, definitely thanks for the suggestions. And also on the video about the Q3 and Q4 objectives, AgentRev made some suggestions around how to structure the future work and how we might be able to use some of the GitHub features. Yeah, generally some really interesting discussions happening. So for example, on the proposal to engage with some of these researchers, AgentRev did like a detailed breakdown on how some of their work is different from what we're doing and how it relates to our work. There was some interesting discussion around voting, cerebellum, on this thread with HumbleTraveller and AgentRev. Also, Rami adding some of our thoughts on that. So yeah, another interesting thread. And then there was another thread about whether Monty implements biological mechanisms for strengthening synaptic connections between neurons. There were a lot of other interesting posts. I'm just putting some examples here. There's one on a video about learning sequences and behaviors. Some thoughts around melodies and how they could be modeled. And then here's some thoughts about pre-wiring connectivity between different pixels. And then, yeah, a couple of first-time posts on this course. So welcome to the discourse community. Hope to see more from you guys. And then, yeah, people also sharing Thousand Brains project on social media. Emrah has been kind of calling us out on several posts or replying to people's posts. Just today, another nice post on LinkedIn about why reference frames are so crucial and important, which I thought was a nice description. And then, yeah, Michael writing something about, yeah, Thousand Brains book and, yeah, how it's different than large language models. Hadi invited Niels to present at the deep learning reinforcement learning debate series, and then yeah, that was shared later and also reshared. So thanks for everyone sharing that. Greg Robinson wrote another nice blog post about yeah, different new types of AI and yeah, Thousand Brains project also features in there along with Meta's JIPA and Google's Genie and other kind of new approaches that are coming up. So yeah, thank you for everyone for all the great and various contributions. Really appreciate it a lot.